One man alone in the old 80s, like, theme music for like thrillers and whatever else. That's awesome. Once again, it is your main man, the myth, not really a legend. That's reserved for other people, but the bad werewolf himself, Mr. Oh, well, dressed in dark blue today, but a little black, because those are blue, black, white, silver, are the colors of the wolf. What's going on, guys? It is me, that guy, the wolf, doing that thing that he does. What do we got today? Well, this is going to be a little bit longer of a video. All right, so let me get the music down a little bit here. Okay, something like that. All right, so we are going to be talking about something that does not give you rights, but that secures them. So you guys have to understand that the Constitution for the United States of America, because there's three, there's the Constitution for America. Each state has its own constitution, and Washington, D.C. has its or their own constitution, because they created governments, and they were sanctioned to do so, and they are all registered somewhere. So if you're underneath one of them, then you have to abide by the rules and laws of that land. Now, we're going to take a look at the Constitution. So this is, like I said, it's going to be a little bit longer of a video. And we're going to cover some things, because I don't think you guys have ever really sat down and dissected it. We're going to do that today. But before we get started, just know that I wish everybody blessings and positive energy, light and happiness in their world. Do not give up. Keep going. If you need to take a break, take a break. If you need to breathe, breathe. Always seek light. Look to the east. Okay? Rises in the east, sets in the west. Now, as always, you can find more information about me and everything that we do here on blacksite32.com. We've added new files. We've got new sections. You can find out my social media pages. So you can make sure that it's actually me and not somebody scamming people. I will never ask you for money, okay? If it's not through blacksite32, it's not me, all right? Plain and simple. So I'm not going to ask you, how doing long are you in my group? Want to invest crypto? Like, come on, people. You guys have given away some scammers some money out there that, y'all don't even send me for donations. But I will thank the people who have been starting to give me donations again. It was a little slow for a while there. Started to pick up. It's okay. What else do we got going on? We are in works with the seminars. What are the seminars going to be? We're going to talk about things that I've learned from people in the court, myself, judges, lawyer information. We're going to talk about how to do your YouTube channel. We're going to talk about health. Now, I do have other channels that I'm going to be putting that stuff on, but this will always be the main channel. And so check blacksite32 to see when we're going to do seminars. I'm going to try to keep the prices no more than 200 at the most. So probably like 150, 199. Some will be $100, but we'll have either me and a couple hours worth of information talking to you guys live, or it'll be a number of other people joining me on the live to basically let them tell you about how they move. So we'll have some guest celebrities, infamous stars, whoever we can get in this, genre, if you will, to talk to you during the seminars. I'll still have some random people coming on and doing the free ones. The other ones, we're going to do a little bit more exclusive. We're going to go a little bit more in depth in things. And I'm toying with the idea of creating something called either the Badwolf After Hours, or, the, Fireside or After Class. Something like that will be on the seminars page, where it'll be a little lower cost, but it'll be all of us, whoever wants to get on. We're going to have some drinks. wine or alcoholic adult other beverages, whatever you guys want to do, it's up to you. And we're just going to sit back like this and we're just going to talk, and people can ask and tell stories and share certain things, and everybody can have their time, but you don't want to overdo it. So I might say, hey, all right, we got to get to some more people here. But it'll be people being able to ask me stuff, and we're just going to kind of be casual, like we're just all in the living room. So if that's something you guys want to see, I've been getting positive reviews from my think tank on that. So we'll have seminars, and then we'll have like a truly open forum. And so if you guys want to see that, just shoot me an email, or just say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That'd be really cool. And thank you for the people who randomly just message me and say, hey, thank you for this, thank you for the information, blah 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 blah. Remarkably, the trolls have been pretty tame lately. They've been kind of subsiding, which is good, because like I said, I don't check all of my emails. We have scaled back from answering all the emails. We answer a good handful, and then whatever we can get done for the day, that's it. So thank you for that. Many people have been using the service on my website where they're like, hey, $20 donation, here's 3, maybe 4 questions I want to ask real quick, and then I just give you short, quick answers to those. So thank you for that. Otherwise, for other things, mobile notary services, securitized audits for your house and see if there's any mortgage scams, if you need assistance from various programs and services, and all other kind of discounts and offers, hit Black Site 32. Go through all the pages and see what you need. Okay. All right. So without further ado, I want to thank you guys. It's been a long day, so I'm sorry that I'm not super like, woo, but it's so many consultations. So what I'm going to be doing now, and lots of emails, like I said, I still get to a lot of them. I got other people checking some of the easy peasy ones for me now. So I'm going to be going down to probably like 3, maybe 4 days of consultations, and then I'm going to take some of the rest of the week off weekly so that I can get back to reading books and learning new things, perfecting some processes. I got lots of good content coming for you guys, so don't worry about it. It's we ain't going anywhere. We're just going to shift to be more efficient. All right. So without further ado, let's check out this thing called the Constitution for the United States of America. Are you guys ready? You should be, because you're about to learn really what it is to be an American and a patriot. So let's share the screen. 3, 2, 1, contact. It's all right, here we go. All right. So jumping right out, you can see that this is the constitution.congress.gov. So the real McCoy, Constitution annotated. All right. Preamble explained. All right. Overview of the preamble, all that stuff. All right. So the preamble, we the people. Okay. Doesn't say the government or anything like that. We the people. You always start off with the most powerful thing. In the Bible, they start off with the name of God. Well, at least in the old version. In the new one, they just say in the beginning. But really, it's I am the beginning. But anyway. So we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the more common defense, promote general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for, not of, for the United States of America. See the word America there? For, not of. Well, this is the Constitution of the United States. Okay, great. It's not mine. This is mine right here. Okay. So let us begin. Let's see here. All right, start here.
Article 1. Article 1 explained. Section 1. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Section 2. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states, and the elect.
Now hold on. Did you hear that? The people of the several states. This is how they refer to the continental or geographical America. Doesn't say the 50 corporate states or the state of, right? Okay, let's go on.
Several states, and the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature.
Now remember, the word state just means body. Okay, or vessel, if you will. And there are multiple states existing in the same geographical area. Okay, just like, say, you might have some gang members who run their little body. You might have the mafia who runs their body. You got the county that runs their body. You got the state that runs their body. The FBI that runs their body. Okay, so when you see the word state, you have to ask which specific state. Words have double meanings.
Legislature. No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained to the age of 25 years, and been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which he shall be chosen. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this Union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress of the United States, and within every subsequent term of 10 years, in such manner as they shall by law direct. The number of representatives shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000, but each state shall have at least 1 representative, and until such enumeration shall be made, the state of New Hampshire shall be entitled to choose 3, Massachusetts 8, Rhode Island and Providence Plantations 1, Connecticut 5, New York 6, New Jersey 4, Pennsylvania 8, Delaware 1, Maryland 6, Virginia 10, North Carolina 5, South Carolina 5, and Georgia 3. When vacancies happen in the representation from any state, the executive authority thereof shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies. The House of Representatives shall choose their Speaker and other officers, and shall have the sole power of impeachment. Section 3. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen by the legislature thereof, for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Immediately after they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election, they shall be divided as equally as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the second year, of the second class at the expiration of the 4th year, and of the third class at the expiration of the 6th year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every second year, and if vacancies happen by resignation, or otherwise, during the recess of the legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill such vacancies. No person shall be a senator who shall not have attained to the age of 30 years, and been 9 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state for which he shall be chosen. The Vice President of the United States shall be President of the Senate, but shall have no vote, unless they be equally divided. The Senate shall choose their other officers, and also a President pro tempore, in the absence of the Vice President, or when he shall exercise the office of President of the United States. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment, according to law. Section 4. The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof, but the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations, except as to the places of choosing senators. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall be on the first Monday in December, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. Section 5. Each house shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business, but a smaller number may adjourn from day to day, and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members, in such manner, and under such penalties as each house may provide. Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and, with the concurrence of 2/3, expel a member. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish the same, excepting such parts as may in their judgment require secrecy, and the yeas and nays of the members of either house on any question shall, at the desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered on the journal. Neither house, during the session of Congress, shall, without the consent of the other, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place than that in which the two houses shall be sitting. Section 6. The senators and
Now, what's interesting there is that it says they shall not adjourn for more than 3 days. Okay, well, we've seen them do that. So right there, that's a violation of the Constitution. So I'm telling you guys, a lot of stuff that they do is because no one's busting their chops on these things. Some of the things that they're doing are illegal or unlawful, but unless you guys know this information, you guys can't hold them to anything. All right. Now, I'll be honest. I know a lot of you, yeah, you hear it, but you're not going to inform Congress. You're not going to form any committees. You're not going to say, hey, we're holding you guys to these things. And there's more. Oh, there's a lot more. And it gets swept under the table. And they know that. So that's why I said they're not worried about me or you, because nobody's going to stand up and hold them accountable to these things. But let's go on. Let's keep going.
representatives shall receive a compensation for their services, to be ascertained by law, and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. They shall in all cases, except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, and in going to and returning from the same, and for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. No senator or representative shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created, or the emoluments whereof shall have been increased during such time, and no person holding any office under the United States shall be a member of either house during his continuance in office. Section 7. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. Every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it become a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approve, he shall sign it, but if not, he shall return it, with his objections to that House in which it shall have originated, who shall enter the objections at large on their journal, and proceed to reconsider it.
All right, now keep in mind that the COVID-19 thingy thing was never brought before them as a bill to be passed by the House and then signed by the president. So it was not law. And even if they did make it law, who does it apply to? The public or the private? Because they only have jurisdiction over the public. The private, they can't do it because they have to have consent over the consent of the governed is needed. Okay, so think about that. They have to have consent over the governed. So if the government is there to be over you, to protect you, but yet you can modify the government and disband it if we all choose to do it, then they need our consent to do these things to us, which is why a lot of times you might run into some of these hypothetical false flag things that occur because they want you to say, hey, yeah, we do need more control. Yeah, government, please control us more. Do this, states. You get it now? You see in the picture? Carry on.
If after such reconsideration 2/3 of that House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent, together with the objections, to the other House, by which it shall likewise be reconsidered, and if approved by 2/3 of that House, it shall become a law. But in all such cases, the votes of both Houses shall be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of the persons voting for and against the bill shall be entered on the journal of each House respectively. If any bill shall not be returned by the President within 10 days, Sundays excepted, after it shall have been presented to him, the same shall be a law, in like manner as if he had signed it, unless the Congress by their adjournment prevent its return, in which case it shall not be a law. Every order, resolution, or vote to which the concurrence of the Senate and House of Representatives may be necessary, except on a question of adjournment, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him, or being disapproved by him, shall be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate and House of Representatives, according to the rules and limitations prescribed in the case of a bill. Section 8. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States, but all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States. To regulate commerce with foreign nations, and among the several states, and with the Indian tribes. To establish an uniform rule of naturalization, and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. To coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures. To provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States. To establish post offices and post roads. To promote the progress of science.
All right, so hold on in there. To not circumvent the securities and current coin of the United States. Everything is supposed to be paid in gold and silver or lawful money. But we're using Federal Reserve notes. That's legal tender, not lawful money. Treasury notes. Okay, this has been circumvented right here. And you notice I said the post office, not the United States Postal Service. Those are two separate things. Once again, circumventing things. Now, as much as I would love to see some of this or all of this come to fruition, it probably won't. Most people are going to back down, and no man by himself can do all of this. All right? I'm just your guide, not the leader. I'm your favorite non-belligerent, non-combatant, treaty with the United States, private Lovitica government, bringing you interesting information. All right, let's go on. Let's learn some more. I don't think most of you guys have ever even looked at this. You heard about it and you never read it. So we're going through it. This is going to be a longer video. Okay. But If you guys want to know what's really going on, you have to know where your protections, freedoms, liberties, and rights come from. Well, not necessarily come from, but how they're protected and what other rights you guys have. So let's see what it says. Let's go.
Science and useful arts, by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. To constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court.
Okay, so what do they say here? They're talking about other courts, tribunals, because that's what you go to. Your normal courts are inferior to the Supreme Court. Okay. Tri, meaning three. Okay. The judge, your prosecutor, and the defense. Those are your tribunals. You're judged by three. Are inferior to the Supreme Court right here. Lawyers and other people, police officers. I know you guys watch this too. Those courts are inferior to the Supreme Court. So when we're telling you right to travel, it's because the Supreme Court has said we have that right. They've already ruled on it as law under this Constitution, to which most of you guys should have, if not all, taken and sworn an oath of office. Okay, let's go on.
Tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas.
What? On the high seas. Now, why is it the first one out of the box? Oh, because this represents the maritime jurisdiction of the inferior tribunal courts. Boom, right here. Let's go.
Tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas, and offenses against the law of nations. To declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. To raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years. To provide and maintain a navy. To make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces. To provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers, and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. To exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district, not exceeding 10 miles square, as may, by cession of particular states, and the acceptance of Congress, become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States, or in any department or officer thereof. Section 9. The migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit, shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation, not exceeding $10 for each person. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended, unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it. No bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you hear that? No bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. Now let's take this part right here. Bill of Attainder. A bill of attainder is a declaration of the legislator, so not judicial, that finds an individual or group guilty of a crime and punishes them without a trial. They were not able to exercise their judicial rights. Because under the judicial branch is how you are to be judged by the government, not by your local courts. At least not without a trial. They can do it, but you have to have a trial. Okay. Did you go to trial? No. They got you to plead because they don't want you to go to trial, which tells you should be going to trial. And educational information only, I might put in there that, I'm age of the majority and that I'm a national and a state citizen, and I want to be tried by my peers. So no U.S. citizens, I want nationals only. I don't know if you see what I did there, but let's get going.
Passed. No capitation or other direct tax shall be laid, unless in proportion to the census or enumeration herein before directed to be taken. No tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state.
Now here you can argue, what are articles? It's kind of vague, but it says no tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state. So you leaving their state on paper or whatever shall not be taxed. But here in the word articles, that's the gray area. That can be challenged. You can use that in many things, but let's go on.
Articles exported from any state. No preference shall be given by any regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another, nor shall vessels bound to, or from,
Port, maritime word, vessels, maritime word,
ports of one state over those of another, nor shall vessels bound to, or from, one state, be obliged to enter, clear, or pay duties in another.
meaning if you are if you're private and you're not operating in their PMA, public member or private members association, but in this case it's so large that it's called the public. If you're not in their stuff, if you're not in DC, you're not using their zip codes, you create your own private trust or whatever else, then they cannot tax you. You can only tax what is yours.
No money shall be drawn from the treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of the Congress, except of any present, emolument, office, or title, of any kind whatever, from any king, prince, or foreign state. Section 10. No state shall enter into.
Now, no title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any present, annulment, office, title of any kind, whatever, from anybody period. Yet we see that they do that privately.
Into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder.
Once again, no bill of attainder, no ex post facto law. Well, we know the states don't coin money, but the Federal Reserve does with the permission of the government. Yes, you guys can go ahead and do that for private notes. But none of the states, the private side of states, can't do that. Can't coin money. Government coins it. And what is there here? Gold and silver. A tender in payments of debts. Okay, let's take a look here. This refers to a criminal statute that punishes actions retroactively, thereby criminalizing conduct that was legal when originally performed. So if I'm doing right to travel and they try to criminalize that because of their law, but that's corporate law, that's not constitutional. They can't do that. You can't criminalize me for some that you have some fake law when it's not supported by the government, the Constitution.
Ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. No state shall, without the consent of the Congress, lay any imposts or duties on imports or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspection laws, and the net produce of all duties and imposts, laid by any state on imports or exports, shall be for the use of the Treasury of the United States, and all such laws shall be subject to the revision and control of the Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops, or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with another state, or with a foreign power, or engage in war, unless actually invaded, or in such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. Article 2. Article 2 explained. Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and, together with the Vice President, chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. Each state shall appoint, in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct, a number of electors, equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress, but no senator or representative, or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States, shall be appointed an elector. The electors shall meet in their respective states, and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. And they shall make a list of all the persons voted for, and of the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify, and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be the President, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if there be more than one who have such majority, and have an equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for President, and if no person have a majority, Then, from the 5 highest on the list, the said House shall in like manner choose the President. But in choosing the President, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. In every case, after the choice of the President, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the Vice President. But if there should remain 2 or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them by ballot the Vice President. The Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors, and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. No person except a natural-born citizen, or a citizen of the United States.
All right, what did they say? They are recognizing within America a natural-born citizen, which is a state citizen, or a citizen of the United States. Notice how it doesn't say U.S. citizen. Now, we know that underneath the term U.S. citizen, or let me say this correctly, the citizen of the United States, underneath this now lies a citizen or a U.S. citizen, but it doesn't say it here originally. They've adopted that a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen falls underneath the term citizen of the United States. Well, let's go on.
States, at the time of the adoption of this Constitution, shall be eligible to the office of President. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 years, and been 14 years a resident within the United States. In case of the removal of the President from office, or of his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the same shall devolve on the Vice President, and the Congress may by law provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability, both of the President and Vice President, declaring what officer shall then act as President, and such officer shall act accordingly, until the disability be removed, or a President shall be elected.
Until the disability be removed. U.S. citizens have a disability. People have gone to prison, usually have a disability. Sleepy Joe right now is not really able to discharge his duties and powers of the office. He's proven himself to be incompetent and a little, well, how do you say, inept? So it is what it is. Let's go.
Disability be removed, or a President shall be elected. The President shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation, which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he shall have been elected, and he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States, or any of them. Before he enter on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation: I do solemnly swear, or affirm, that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Now hold on. Notice here how now that's changed. Why doesn't this say Constitution for the United States of America? Now, it might seem slight to you guys, but it is my understanding this is the corporate version of this entire document. This is something different. This is a Constitution of the United States, and I don't see the word America behind there. Do you? So how do we know which United States we're talking about, the corporation or the land? Right? Just saying.
Section 2. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States, and of the militia of the several states. When called into the actual service of the United States, he may require the opinion, in writing, of the principal officer in each of the executive departments, upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices, and he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. He shall have power, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, to make treaties, provided 2/3 of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States, whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law, but the Congress may by law vest the appointment of such inferior officers, as they think proper, in the President alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of departments. The President shall have power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate, by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. Section 3. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the state of the Union, and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses, or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them, with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. Section 4. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for, and conviction of, treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 3. Article 3 explained. Section 1. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish.
Okay, now what does that say? So the judicial, the ability to judge, ultimate supreme power in the United States, corporation that controls America, that power shall be vested in one Supreme Court. And in such inferior courts, which would be in this case the federal court, and then those underneath, may from time to time ordain and establish.
Establish. The judges, both of the supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior, and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation, which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases, in law and equity, arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States, and treaties made, or which shall be made, under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction.
Whoa! Are they acknowledging what we've been talking about? Bro? To all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdictions. Boom. Your inferior courts right here. Admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. Yahtzee. There you go.
Jurisdiction. To controversies to which the United States shall be a party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states, and between a state, or the citizens thereof, and foreign states, citizens, or subjects.
So what they're saying here is that the Supreme Court and federal courts have actual real jurisdiction and judicial power over all forms except if it's a private thing in the admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, lower courts. But if you bring your case from down there up out of the water to the land, to the federal court, Supreme Court, they have up there power, jurisdiction over all of it. So if you're dealing with just the admiralty and maritime courts, you're essentially saying that you are a U.S. citizen to a U.S. citizen, or a U.S. citizen to a corporation, which is typically going to be a U.S. citizen or a legal person. That's their jurisdiction. But if you want to have it overturned, or you think it wasn't done right, you feel like you got your actual liberties and freedoms were denied or unjust, you take them to the higher courts. Congress allows them to do this, have their own little jurisdiction underneath them, and it's considered private party. When you got your legal name, you joined it. When you checked off U.S. citizen, you joined it. So what they're saying here is that in the upper courts, we don't care if it's between a citizen and the state. So when they're talking about what? I thought they said you couldn't sue the states, couldn't sue these places. Oh no, because down here at Admiralty and Maritime, you can't, because you're our property. But when you realize who and what you are, you start addressing yourself as a national of the United States of America, a state citizen. Now you can sue the states. States can sue other states. Everything goes up here. Let's move on.
Subjects. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, and those in which a state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction.
Yay, yay.
In all the other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, with such exceptions, and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. The trial of all crimes, except in cases of impeachment, shall be by jury, and such trial shall be held in the state where the said crimes shall have been committed, but when not committed within any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. Section 3. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act, or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood, or forfeiture except during the life of the person attainted. Article 4. Article 4 explained. Section 1. Full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state.
Meaning if you do something in one state, they will honor it or recognize it in another. Notice how it says public acts. Do you see anything about private? Go ahead, I'll wait. No? Awesome. Let's keep it moving.
State. And the Congress may by general laws prescribe the manner in which such acts, records, and proceedings shall be proved, and the effect thereof. Section 2. The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states.
Whoa! Now we're getting good. I'm taking my pants off now. Yay, yay. The citizens of each state. Now, notice they didn't say citizens of the several states. Just the citizens of each state, meaning everybody, shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. Wait, what? That's 2 separate things here, right? Check it out. So this is what they're telling you, is that there are privileges and immunities for citizens in the several states, meaning in the private. Now, I happen to know this falls under 18 U.S.C. 112 and the Immunities Act. Look it up. I made a video on it. Hell, look up Privileges and Immunities Acts. So why are they saying this? They're saying the citizens of each state. So each state corporation out there, those people who are still yet these people, see, everybody was born as a citizen in the several states in the private. And then you became a citizen of one of these states, which are all together under full faith and credit. And they're saying you too are still yet, though you've gone over here to become a citizen of their state, their corporation, are entitled to all the stuff that you were born with. You guys got to learn what's going on in order to stand on this. This goes out to you too, law officials, judges, lawyers, attorneys, all that good jazz. Have you guys sat down and read this? Probably not. But hey, if you're still here this far, I appreciate you. And for the love of God, don't misunderstand that I'm against anybody or anything. I don't really care. Get your money, get your rocks off, however you do it, as long as there's either permission or you're not hurting anybody. I don't care. I'm just saying an ultimate line in the sand of truth has to be drawn. And juris in my diction. Okay. This is the supreme law over everything other than private stuff. And if it needs to be, remedied, then we take it to higher court and put it in their jurisdiction. Okay, let's go.
States. A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime, who shall flee from justice, and be found in another state, shall on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up, to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. No person held to service or labor in one state, under the laws thereof, escaping into another, shall, in consequence of any law or regulation therein, be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom such service or labor may be due. Section 3. New states may be admitted by the Congress into this Union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states, or parts of states, without the consent of the legislatures of the states concerned as well as of the Congress. The Congress shall have power to dispose of and make all needful rules and regulations respecting the territory or other property belonging to the United States, and nothing in this Constitution shall be so construed as to prejudice any claims of the United States, or of any particular state. Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this Union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion, and on application of the legislature, or of the executive, when the legislature cannot be convened, against domestic violence. Article 5. Article 5 explained. The Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or, on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which, in either case, shall be valid to all intents and purposes, as part of this Constitution, when ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states, or by conventions in 3/4 thereof, as the one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by the Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to the year 1808 shall in any manner affect the 1st and 4th clauses in the 9th section of the 1st article, and that no state, without its consent, shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. Article 6. Article 6 explained. All debts contracted and engagements entered into, before the adoption of this Constitution, shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution, as under the Confederation. This Constitution, and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land.
Did you hear that? This Constitution, this document right here, considered living, that we are reading from, it shall be the supreme law of the land. Holler at your boy. Nothing else other than God's law overstands this document. Okay, let's go on.
Land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby.
Whoa. Powerful statement at ASF. Yay, yay. What'd that say? And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. That means even those judges in the lower courts have to follow and operate that this document supersedes them. Now, in their courtroom, they can do what they want to do, but they cannot, without your consent, go against what's in this document, nor take away your freedoms and rights without the consent of the governed. That's why people ask for their oaths of office. Did you not take an oath to this Constitution?
Thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding.
Notwithstanding, meaning you have your laws in your state, we get it, but this is the master document here. New sheriff in town, new law dog. So this notwithstanding means it will not stand. So laws of any other state to the contrary will not stand. You cannot make things against this. You cannot abrogate or abridge this document. This is the superior document.
The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state
Several states, once again, the real America.
Legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under
Public trust. This is what they're operating by.
public trust under the United States. Article 7. Article 7 explained. The ratification of the conventions of 9 states shall be sufficient for the establishment of this Constitution between the states so ratifying the same. First Amendment. First Amendment explained. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Once again, superior document says the right of the people to peacefully assemble. This is why they want to get everybody stirred up, because they don't like guys out there protesting and bringing negative imagery to what they got going on. Hey, just take these crappy laws that we're passing for only 14th Amendment U.S. citizens, because you guys don't know your state citizens, and you don't have to listen to any of this, and you guys all should be operating privately. Hey, we don't want you doing that. So let's stir them up a little bit and get them to make a ruckus. Now it's no longer peaceful. Now they can do something about it. You've turned into belligerents and combatants, which is why they've also been found to have off-duty, undercover, whatever people who sometimes have been the ones to facilitate certain fires and other things. And you're thinking they're just regular people. One of you, which congrats to the people who have stopped said people, whether off-duty officers or regular people, because that's what you're supposed to do, but that's not what they want to do, want you to do or know about. But let's carry on, shall we?
Grievances. Second Amendment. Second Amendment explained. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed.
Now, did you hear that? You have the right to protect yourself as a free state. Right to have your own militia. State, you, protect yourself. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. Do you see anything else that says if you have a felony or this or that? No. No, educational information only. I'm just saying it says right here. You are abrogating or abridging my Second Amendment right to those people that this qualifies for. It's right here. Doesn't say any other exceptions or exclusions. Oh, wait. But if you're a U.S. citizen, you've already waived all of this, so that's why. You have a disability now. Second Amendment doesn't say anything about having a disability. For we the people, the right of the people. Now, obviously, some people out there should not have weapons. We all know there's always that one guy who can get one for you or whatever else. But this is why they had it in place, is that you do have the right. But if you're endangering public safety, they will remove that right because you have entered into the public. You've committed an offense to the public. You knew how to self-govern. You would stay private. But you didn't.
Infringed. Third Amendment. Third Amendment explained. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house, without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment explained. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects, against unreasonable searches and seizures.
Now, hold on. Our founding fathers had a little something in here. The right of the people. So once again, the consent of the governed. Okay. Have the right to be secure, meaning private, with themselves, which is persons. Houses should be in a trust, private, without a legal name. Papers, your own documents. Effects, everything else, including your vehicle. Vehicle falls underneath effects. Against unreasonable, meaning unlawful, searches and seizures.
Effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause.
Did the officer have probable cause? Did he have absolute solid reasoning to 100% convey that whatever you were doing, he has to stop you? No? Violation of the Fourth Amendment, then. Deprivation of rights under color of law, deprivation of rights under 14th Amendment, Fourth Amendment. And was it supported by an oath of office? An affirmation? A warrant signed by a judicial judge?
Supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched, and the persons or things to be seized.
Has to be specific.
Fifth Amendment.
Has to be specific. If it doesn't specifically say this, if it says, oh, just search the house, not okay. Search the vehicle, house for, okay. Says the house. For what exactly? I would go as far as say, did it say the house, the basement, the garage? Be specific. That's what it says. Particularly describing the place. Let's go.
Amendment. Fifth Amendment explained. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself.
So if you can't be a witness against yourself, then why are the cops trying to ask you, what did you do? Why did you answer? Why did you give them ammo in this maritime jurisdiction? Why are they taking your things saying, oh, this is you on this ID, right? Okay. You're being a witness against yourself. You cannot be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against yourself. Nor can they deprive you of your life. So these cops who kill people, not cool, but no one's here to stand up for them when it's done inappropriately. They deprived you of your life. It's a violation of your Fifth Amendment, your liberty to be able to move and be free. If you're locked up, that's a deprivation of your liberty. They tow your car, sell it, your home, your property, without due process of law. Was it signed off on and done by a Article 3 judge, a court, properly signed documents, seals, correct? The real judge, not just a magistrate.
Property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Sixth Amendment. Sixth Amendment explained. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained.
Now, hold on. This just came to my thought. I'm seeing crime here. I'm not hearing anything about statutes, codes, regulations. I'm hearing crime and criminal stuff only. I mean, I didn't see it or hear it. I mean, maybe there's some of that down lower. Oh, but wait a minute. You're in their private members association called the public. So you have a right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district. Now, educational information only. I mean, how is it really impartial if the judge and the prosecutor and everybody there are part of the bar and they all swore a membership and loyalty to the bar? It sounds almost kind of treasonous, because that's not impartial, first of all, from my perspective and understanding, overstanding. And if they all work for the state, well, that seems like a conflict of interest too. So you guys take an oath to the bar, and then you guys are all members of the state, or paid by the state. But can't really say too much about the state because that's just how it goes. But the bar? Okay.
Ascertained. ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 7. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 8. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 9. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 10. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 11. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 12. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 13. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 14. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 15. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 16. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 17. Ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. 18.
You have the right to be informed of the nature and cause. So let's check that out. So the nature and the cause, in the legal sense, is the constitutional right to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusations. Entitles the defendant, or excuse me, entitles the defendant, the accused, to insist that the indictment apprise him of the crime, meaning if they got you there for whatever reason, it should be there because of a crime, not a code. But they get you because you're in their PMA. With such reasonable certainty that he can make his defense and protect himself after judgment against another prosecution on the same charge. What does it say? Right to notice of accusation. Well, let's check it out. Oh, you know what? I haven't said hi to Cornell Law EDU in a long time. Hi, Cornell Law EDU. Hi, all the people that write for them. Okay, so we read most of this already, but it also goes on to say to be confronted with the witness against him. So who is this witness against me? What is the nature and cause of this? Where is the witness? Now, when I start doing my classes, you guys are going to want to pay attention to this part when we do the seminars. To have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor. Well, I have the right to find people who can say this didn't happen this way. Did you know that? And to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Well, this is usually going to be your public pretender. So let's kind of go through this a little bit. No indictment is sufficient if it does not allege all of the ingredients that constitutes the crime. Where the language of a statute is, according to the natural import of the words, okay, fully descriptive of the offense, it is sufficient if the indictment follows the statutory phraseology, but where the elements of the crime have to be ascertained by reference to the common law, superior generally, or to other statutes. It is not sufficient to set forth the offense in the words of the statute. The facts necessary to bring the case within the statutory definition must be alleged. And an offense cannot be accurately and clearly described without an allegation that the accused is not within the exception contained in the statutes. So if anything in there is defective, it's bogus. Despite the omission of obscene particulars, an indictment in general language is good in the unlawful conduct is described so as reasonably to inform the accused of the nature of the charge sought to be established against him. The Constitution does not require the government to furnish a copy of the indictment to an accused. The right to notice of accusation is so fundamental a part of procedural due process that the states are required to observe it. So they have to observe this. Supported where? By what? Case law, right here. United States versus Cruikshank. Huge one. All the rest of these supported. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's go on.
Nature and cause of the accusation. To be confronted with the witnesses against him. to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. 7th Amendment. 7th Amendment explained. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. 8th Amendment. 8th Amendment explained. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. 9th Amendment. 9th Amendment explained. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. 10th Amendment. 10th Amendment explained. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people.
Okay, hold on. Don't just fly by that, Miss Lady. Hold up. The 10th Amendment is very powerful. It says the powers, meaning your rights, liberties, and anything else you can think of. These powers that were not delegated to the United States by this Constitution, meaning we the people, if we did not give the Constitution this power, these powers, these controls, and it's not prohibited by the states, are reserved to the states respectively, which you could argue respectively could mean the republic side, the private side. In generally, we're giving the states some powers to do some things not talked about in the Constitution, but it's reserved to them or to the people, meaning we, the people, have the ability to do things outside of the Constitution privately. They don't talk about right to this or that, blah, blah, blah. We have the power. It says are reserved for said states to do and or to the people. This is a huge window right here for things not in the Constitution that you can use to fight. Okay.
People. 11th Amendment. 11th Amendment explained. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity, commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. 12th Amendment. 12th Amendment explained. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom, at least, shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for as president, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president, and they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president, and of all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which lists they shall sign and certify, and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately, by ballot, the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them, before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president, as in case of the death or other constitutional disability of the president. The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers on the list, the Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment explained. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States, or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
Okay. So neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, otherwise known as peonage, Peonage, except as a punishment for crime. So if you've committed a crime and everything was done and processed properly, can they give you involuntary servitude? Whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, due processed. None of this will happen unless it's a crime. So slavery and involuntary servitude shall not exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So let me ask you, if you're doing right to travel and they keep you there, lock you up, or you're doing something minor, not a crime, oh, it's civil. Okay, meaning corporate, admiralty, maritime jurisdiction. And they lock you up, it's involuntary servitude, slavery. You're forcing me to do something. Have I been convicted of a crime? No, and that goes against the 13th Amendment.
Thirteenth Amendment. 13th Amendment explained. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States, or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
So now, if these jails are private, and these lower courts are operating with bar member, you know what? Never mind. I'll let you think of it on your own. Put it together.
Jurisdiction. Section 2. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment explained. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States.
Does it say U.S. citizens? Does it say United States citizens? No, it's reversed. It says citizens of the United States. This is what the Constitution for the United States of America dictates. Those are two separate things legally. Because you are a citizen, small c, of the United States, not United States citizens. 14th Amendment, United States, U.S. citizens are creations or persons born, entities born, legal persons born within the District of Columbia. citizens of the United States operate underneath this Constitution for the United States of America. See, they had to cover all the bases in this document, but if you don't know how to read the document, and you know what, hell, let's say I'm wrong. Let's say I'm wrong. You know what? The Supreme Court ruled your interpretation of the law is an arguable defense. That's all I'm going to say.
States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce
Whoa,
any
whoa,
law.
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up. So it says, under the United States, and here we're going to assume that they mean United States of America, because the term the United States has multiple definitions. One, the body politic, which is Congress, meaning the next part two also means the United States can also refer to the corporation located under U.C.C. 9-307, location of the debtors, Washington, D.C. And it can also mean the United States of America in the geographical sense. And subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. So because of this, we're going to say that this probably right here in this context means America. And of the state wherein they reside. So wait a minute. There's two separate things going on here. Not only are you a citizen of the United States, but you are a citizen of the state wherein they reside. To reside, to, or look at it this way, reside. Well, what does it mean to reside something? Well, if you reside your house, it means you're putting on a new side. You're changing sides, right? So, of the state wherein they reside. Well, if you were born in Florida, you're a Floridian. That's a state citizen. You get your birth certificate done, check off 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, well, or just U.S. citizen, then you have resided, you reside, your residence is now in the corporation known as the state of Florida. Florida state, state of Florida, two separate things, different jurisdictions. You resided.
No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States.
You are protected in the private by this, unless you agree to be under their jurisdiction, consent of the governed.
Privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property, without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Section 2. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers,
Several
counting the
states.
whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at
Now, right here, they just say Indians. Now, this is actually a derogatory term and really should be updated to say native persons. Okay, but anyway, so it says Indians will not be taxed. Well, like we said in our videos, if you're born here, you are a Native American. You're an Indian, if you want to use that term. In the private, you claiming yourself to be a native Indian shall not be taxed. Supreme Court ruled that the United States corporation in relationship to the United States of America is in fact foreign. So they're two separate entities. One's corporate, one's real. One's de jure, one's de facto.
Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for President and Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age, and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged, except for participation in rebellion, or other crime, the basis of representation therein shall be reduced, in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress, or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States, or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath, as a member of Congress, or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Section 4. The validity of the public debt of the United States, authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Section 5. The Congress shall have the power to enforce, by appropriate legislation, the provisions of this article. 15th Amendment. 15th Amendment explained. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 2. The Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 16th Amendment. 16th Amendment explained. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes.
Now listen to what they're saying here. First of all, income is a corporate word, which means for-profit corporation. Compensation received in for a corporation that is deemed as income for profit. Congress can and shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on these corporations. Income. When you label yourself as a corporation with the use of all caps name, given to you by the state of, which is a corporation, you are a subcorp. And that's why they call them income taxes for corporations, not the private person. You see that anywhere on here? Have you heard anywhere in here anything that they said they can do to the private person? Private sector, anything? Nope. Okay. Now let's break it down because I know some people in there. Well, but remember, the public means everybody in the public. Typically corporations, members, trustees, people in official capacity. So hold on, let's back it up. Let's back it up. Public. Ordinary people in general, the community. Okay. So now we know what the public is. What is the opposite of public? Private. Like, it's really not hard, people. It's Really not hard. So if they have complete control over the public, guess what you should be, if you choose to be? Or guess what other side you were born with? As a native of the several states, your nationality, private sector, private person.
Incomes, from whatever source derived, without apportionment among the several states, and without regard to any census or enumeration. 17th Amendment. 17th Amendment explained. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof, for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislatures. When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive thereof to make temporary appointments until the people fill the vacancies by election as the legislature may direct. This amendment shall not be so construed as to affect the election or term of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution. 18th Amendment. 18th Amendment explained. Section 1. After 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within, the importation thereof into, or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territories subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited. Section 2. The Congress and the several states shall have concurrent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Section 3. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of the several states, as provided in the Constitution, within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. 19th Amendment. 19th Amendment explained. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 20th Amendment. 20th Amendment explained. Section 1. The terms of the President and the Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of Senators and Representatives at noon on the 3d day of January, of the years in which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. Section 2. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall begin at noon on the 3d day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. Section 3. If, at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the President-elect shall have died, the Vice President-elect shall become President. If a President shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of his term, or if the President-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the Vice President-elect shall act as President until a President shall have qualified, and the Congress may by law provide for the case wherein neither a President-elect nor a Vice President-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as President, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a President or Vice President shall have qualified. Section 4. The Congress may by law provide for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the House of Representatives may choose a President whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the Senate may choose a Vice President whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them. Section 5. Sections 1 and 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article. Section 6. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission. 21st Amendment. 21st Amendment explained. Section 1. The 18th Article of Amendment to the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. Section 2. The transportation or importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicating liquors, in violation of the laws thereof, is hereby prohibited. Section 3. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by conventions in the several states, as provided in the Constitution, within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. 22nd Amendment. 22nd Amendment explained. Section 1. No person shall be elected to the office of the President more than twice, and no person who has held the office of President, or acted as President, for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected President shall be elected to the office of the President more than once. But this article shall not apply to any person holding the office of President when this article was proposed by the Congress, and shall not prevent any person who may be holding the office of President, or acting as President, during the term within which this article becomes operative from holding the office of President or acting as President during the remainder of such term. Section 2. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission to the states by the Congress. 23rd Amendment. 23rd Amendment explained. Section 1. The district constituting the seat of government of the United States shall appoint in such manner as the Congress may direct. A number of electors of President and Vice President equal to the whole number of senators and representatives in Congress to which the district would be entitled if it were a state, but in no event more than the least populous state. They shall be in addition to those appointed by the states, but they shall be considered, for the purposes of the election of President and Vice President, to be electors appointed by a state, and they shall meet in the district and perform such duties as provided by the 12th Article of Amendment. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 24th Amendment. 24th Amendment explained. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote in any primary or other election for President or Vice President, for electors for President or Vice President, or for Senator or Representative in Congress, shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state by reason of failure to pay any poll tax or other tax. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 25th Amendment. 25th Amendment explained. Section 1. In case of the removal of the President from office or of his death or resignation, the Vice President shall become President. Section 2. Whenever there is a vacancy in the office of the Vice President, the President shall nominate a Vice President who shall take office upon confirmation by a majority vote of both houses of Congress. Section 3. Whenever the President transmits to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmits to them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the Vice President as acting President. Section 4. Whenever the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office,
Sleepy
the
Joe?
Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting President. Thereafter, when the President transmits to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that no inability exists, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the Executive Department or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit within 4 days to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Thereupon Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose if not in session. If the Congress, within 21 days after receipt of the latter written declaration, or, if Congress is not in session, within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 vote of both houses that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall continue to discharge the same as acting President. Otherwise, the President shall resume the powers and duties of his office. 26th Amendment. 26th Amendment explained. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States, who are 18 years of age or older, to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of age. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 27th Amendment. 27th Amendment explained. No law, varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives, shall take effect, until an election of representatives shall have intervened. Full text.
All right, all right. So what I'm looking at right now is this is the notes, the background information on how they came to making this one statement here. Their proposals, the ratification, the acceptance, scope, implications, all that. So you can always see if you go here, always look in the notes if you understand their thought processes and what they meant when they made those statements. Okay. So once again, all right. We're going to have more of those, a couple more, some more things you guys should know. What do we got? Like the Bill of Rights, whatever else. That's something else on here. But we're going to go through all that. Not today in this video, but probably after this next one. So thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, wow, thank you for staying along. I guess it's not worse than any of my lives, but, you know, some dry reading in there. But you guys need to know what your rights, freedoms, liberties, where they come from, where they are enforced and protected. They come from the Creator, come from man, understanding common sense, common law. That which makes sense is law, okay? But you can have other people form their own constitutions outside of that, operating underneath them, those, ours, them, their, that's what's. And if you're party to that, then you are subject to it. It's plain and simple. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to, especially if this is your first time here, hit that bell, like, and subscribe. Thank you guys for helping me to get to 55,000. We're going to keep doing what we do. Don't forget to check out my other channels on YouTube where I go into other things, relationships, and aliens, and spiritual, and metaphysics, quantum mechanics, you name it, I've read it. Well, almost everything, a lot, and a whole lot more to go. Till then, guys, Badwolf is out. I will talk to you guys later. Enjoy your day.